What's up? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and on the phone line from the top-rated Rizzuto show on 105.7 The Point in St. Louis, Rizzuto is on Happy Hour. What's up, bro?
Ryan, it's been a while. How are you?
I'm good, man. I think it's been about a year. Things have changed. You've added a new cast member. I bet your ratings are even better.
Oh, you're talking about King Scott?
Yeah.
Yes, King Scott. King Scott, the 37-year-old virgin. Like, legit, no joke, virgin.
Dude, I have so much respect for him because I literally, if I don't get laid in a month, I get annoyed. I can't imagine almost 40 years, 4 decades of not having sex. Like, good for him, man. Like, that's awesome. I can't imagine it.
It's for religious reasons.
I know.
So he, listen, it takes an incredible amount of self-control to have achieved 37 years of virginity. And listen, who's to say he hasn't done other stuff? He just hasn't gone all the way.
I think it's weird when, like, religious girls especially are like, I don't have sex, but I give oral. It's like, well, it's called oral sex for a reason. You're basically having sex.
That's the loophole.
Yeah.
That's a loophole in it. I've seen this guy, have chicks throw themselves at him. And I'm talking, hot chicks, too.
Dude, imagine being the girl that would have sex with him, if he got too drunk or whatever. That would be, you could go on air and talk for 2 hours about it.
Well, I'm of the thinking that if he winds up having sex at some point, he's not going to tell us.
Really?
Well, listen, that could be his thing. I mean, that's his claim to fame, or part of it. He's got a long red mane, a long red down to his shoulders, or actually down to the middle of his back hair. So he's got that, and he's got the virginity thing going on. So you lose one of those, maybe he loses some of his power. I don't know.
He's sort of like the St. Louis radio version of Tim Tebow, religious, likable, and a virgin. Well, we don't know if Tebow's a virgin anymore.
Is he married, Tim Tebow?
I think he's going to get married. I met your...
Just think also, what's his name? Russell Wilson. Wasn't Russell Wilson a no sex before marriage kind of guy?
I don't think so. I think he was having sex.
Huh.
Well, it's good that you have different characters on your show. That's what I've always liked about it, is nobody's the same. Everybody's uniquely different.
No, we actually talked about that today off the air. We were like, it's funny how everybody's got their own unique opinions. Nobody likes listening to a show where everybody's yes people, oh, yes, everybody has the same opinion. It's not entertaining.
You know what I was wondering? Are you happy with everything you've done in radio? Because a lot of people, I feel like when they reach the age of 40, they either become really grateful about what they've done or they go into panic mode. Have you accepted what you've done, if that makes sense?
I don't understand why I would be in panic mode at this point. I mean, I just turned, I'm going to be 41 next month. I'm pretty comfortable in what I'm doing. I've achieved what I wanted to do, was obviously have my own, talk radio show and make a living doing it and support my family doing it. So, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. I have really no complaints. Of course, I want to make the show bigger and I want to make the show better. I'm always striving to try new things out and experiment and, see where it takes us. But that's the fun about doing what we do is, it's different every day.
You seem to have a very nice fan base, because whenever I listen to your show on iTunes, you guys get more and more reviews, and you guys have a 5 out of 5 rating, which is unreal. For a show to have that many reviews and be that positive, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I tell you what, it really is. I hate to say a cliche, man. It's a real blessing that everybody, is so kind to us. But listen, I don't take anything for granted, and we, we're out and about all the time. We try to shake as many hands as we can, and we make ourselves as accessible as we can. Nobody's really hiding anywhere.
Yeah.
We're constantly out doing things, and whether it be answering emails or, just going out and just talking to people. We're not one of these shows where, we get off the air and that's it. You don't see us or hear from us until the next day. Listen, we're out and doing stuff. We're active on social media and, we're of the people.
You know how a lot of radio shows just walk in when the show begins and just begin talking?
Yes.
I
can't do that.
Yeah, what would your show be like if you just began doing that tomorrow morning, just rolling at 5:59?
I would be very uncomfortable. I will be very uncomfortable. Listen, I get there at between 3:15 and 3:30. I don't leave there until around noon every day. So if somebody says like, "Hey man, what's it like just working 4 hours?" That's a load of crap. I mean, that you could tell if a show is just working 4 hours. We try to do as much work as we can.
I don't know what it's like in Missouri and St. Louis, but I do morning radio on the weekend. I produce all the weekend shows for the Bone, so I'm up at 3. And here in Florida, the only people on the road are truck drivers, drunk drivers, cops getting the drunk drivers, and then radio people, it seems like.
Yeah, well, when we go to work, I don't think there's many other radio people on the road.
That's true.
And I leave my house at 3 o'clock, and it's just, it's deer, and it's truck drivers, and the occasional inebriated person coming the wrong way on the highway, which has happened a couple times. That's the nightmare, is somebody getting so hammered they're driving the wrong way on the highway.
Dude, that
Every
happens.
one of us on the show have experienced that.
Dude, I haven't had it happen to me, but it's happened in the Tampa area an unreal amount. They keep doing it.
Yeah, well, you guys down there, you guys like to drink a lot and do stupid things.
Dude, it's crazy. Last week I went to this club and I took an Uber and I got drunk or whatever, but it's called Ybor City. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a crazy
I've heard of it.
Dude, I had some guy come up to me who he kept saying my name was Timothy, and he kept saying that I bought $70 of Coke from him the previous week and didn't pay him back, which I've never done Coke. Weirdest experience, Rizz. I've never been more uncomfortable.
We do, they call like rednecks here Hoosiers.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, it's a St. Louis thing. So we do, a headline Hoosier every day. And I would say a good 75% of our stories come from your area down there. And I'm not sure what it is about the Tampa, St. Pete area, but man, and no offense to the people down there. I'm sure there are very nice people down there. Damn. A lot of wacky stuff comes from down there. Ryan, what do you think the reason is?
I think it's just so nice out all the time that no one knows how to handle it. It's weird. It's just the sunshine. I think there's a cultural thing too. Like, you know how Chicago's very cultural about like jazz music and sports, and I'm sure St. Louis has culture.
Mm-hmm.
Our culture.
Oh yeah, that's culture here.
Our culture down here is sex clubs, the Tampa Bay Lightning, not caring about the Rays, sex clubs, nudie bars, sex clubs. There's not much moral here.
Well, do you think that maybe it's because the weather is pretty much nice all the time and people are outside a lot?
Yeah, and I think
more apt to get in trouble?
Yes, especially that it's nice out at night. It can be a little bit too hot out at night, but there's just so much to do here that it's almost like there's not a bedtime.
Yeah, see, think about St. Louis. Listen, there's dumb stuff that happens in every city. But St. Louis, we have, 2 seasons, hot and cold. When it's cold out, there are not many, crimes going on, or at least you don't hear about it because they're inside. Tampa, St. Pete, and the whole Florida area, that kind of area over there, Ocala.
Ocala, dude. Ocala, I went to go.
That whole section.
Yeah, dude. Whenever I drive to Chicago, the 2 times I've done it since living here to visit my mom, I usually have to get gas there, and I don't even know what planet I'm on when I'm in Ocala, bro. I'm not hating on Ocala. I'm just saying I don't know where I am. It doesn't seem like real life. It seems like basically you open up a book about the weirdness of Florida and you're just reading the book. Like everything you've ever said on your show about Florida, it's all in Ocala.
Yeah, and that area too is, a tremendous amount of Hoosier stories. But what I'm saying is, so since it's nice out and you do dumb stuff outside, you're more apt to get caught. Also, I think Florida has laws where you're allowed to news stations, newspapers, whoever, are allowed to get the information and publish it. So I think we hear a lot of stories that way too.
I know people who have gotten DUIs and they lost their job because even though the charges were dropped soon after, the mugshot was up, so they got let go.
Yeah, that'll tend to happen. Also, the whole Florida man thing. I mean, that's funny too, and most of those stories are from your area down there. So you got a lot going for you over there. Well, also, let me ask you about since the big thing happened in St. Louis these past couple months with the Stanley Cup, championship here, and the Blues actually winning for the first time in the history of the team.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay, the Lightning had the best record of the season and got knocked out almost immediately.
Dude, I didn't watch much hockey. I did get front on the ice seats, like right on the ice from these rich people that I work with on the weekend, so that was cool, and I just got really drunk, and this was in February. And within the first 6 minutes of the game, dude, they were up 4-0, and the rest of the game was 4-0. And I remember thinking about it. I was like, are they going to maintain this in the playoffs? Because, like, every time I would watch, they'd be up 2-0. And I was just like, I don't know. There's just so many teams. Like, look at St. Louis. Like, I feel like the hockey playoffs is more about who is hot at the right time. It doesn't really matter. Because, like, with basketball, you can be the best team in the regular season and the best team in the finals. I feel like hockey, there's more pressure.
Well, I mean, the St. Louis Blues were in last place on January 5th. Like, literally the worst team in the league, January 5th, and what an incredible turnaround and such a huge thing for the city of St. Louis. It was, it was tremendous. Although at the same time, we're playing hockey at the beginning, or to mid-June. I'm like, enough is enough. It's time to move on.
Well, yeah. Was it hard for you, Rizz? Would you watch all the games, or would you just watch the next morning? Because I know you go to bed early.
Oh, there were some late nights. We in our show we have a lot to do with the Blues. I mean, Tony Patrico, one of my co-hosts, he is the in-game music DJ for the Enterprise Center, the arena where they play. I hosted the Stanley Cup Finals parties out on the street. They shut down the streets, and I hosted the parties on the street. So we had a ton of involvement for the Stanley Cup Finals. So it was a lot of late nights. That's why another reason I was like, man, enough is enough. We all need a break.
Didn't you guys have a Rizz night last year?
We had a Rizz night in late January.
Oh, that's cool. So you've had multiple then. That's awesome, dude.
Oh, yeah. We and as a matter of fact, our company, Hubbard, won the rights to broadcast the Blues next season, which what a deal that was, especially when they were in last place when the deal happened. And now we have the Stanley Cup champion Blues on our sister station, ESPN, come next season. It's huge for our company, which will now give us more access to the Blues.
Maybe it's just me, but I think that might bring in ratings, Rizz.
Yeah, for at least for our sister station, which is terrific. This company, we were bought out last year. Our radio station was bought out last year by a company called Hubbard, and what a great company this is. It's a private company. Things couldn't be going better for the radio station and the show because of the company we have been employed by.
When I've gone to the morning show boot camp, I'm not going this year, but I've been to 5 of them, and I feel like I've seen the same thing. And anyway, when I've talked to radio executives from different companies, some of them will give you the time of day, some of them won't. I forget who I was talking to. Woody was next to me, and he was talking me up to a guy from Hubbard. And, dude, they legit wanted to listen to what I do. Like, a lot of radio programmers seemed kind of annoyed whenever I would just kind of ask for advice. I wish I knew the name of who it was, but your company was awesome to talk to.
Oh, yeah, they're great. Yeah, I'm not a radio boot camp kind of guy, to be honest with you. I don't like going and talking shop.
Rizz, I first thought I did, man, but you see the same people every year, and last year I was very lucky that Menace paid for my ticket, but I also got more money on my tax return, so I was able to pay for the room. And it's just like, you see the same people, and I used to be really big, Rizz, about I needed to be like the Howard of radio or like the Tom Brady, because like my boss said, you got to view yourself as the best version possible. And I had this, I had this epiphany this year because I interviewed Jason Ellis, and he said he's cool with being a bench player because he's in the league. And all of a sudden, I thought about it after hearing that. I now carry myself like the Joe Flacco of radio. Like, I don't need all the accolades. as long as I'm in it and I can keep grinding like Joe Flacco did for the Ravens, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, you know, to those kind of things, boot camp, say, but a lot of it's like a swing teams contest. Whose dong is bigger, who can impress the other person, who's the funniest in the room. I mean, I could go have drinks in St. Louis without going to Chicago. If I want to go drink with somebody, I can do that here. It's not for me. And no offense, listen, the people love doing it, and I do appreciate the seminars and people going up there learning stuff. It's not for me.
Yeah, I just don't really think you would like it. I think you'd be annoyed, and I think you would just want to go back home to your kids. I feel like you'd be sick of the douchiness.
I'll be honest with you, I don't like much.
Why is that?
I just want to stay home.
Is that because you're from Jersey?
I'm not from Jersey. I'm from New York. I've done radio in Jersey. I went to college in Jersey
My
for
bad.
2 semesters.
I didn't mean to say that.
But no, that's fine. And you know what? A lot of people, I don't know why people think I'm from New Jersey.
You sound
Maybe
like
it's because I did radio at the Jersey Shore. I don't know.
Dude, you have
Is it
this
because
like
I'm Italian and you think of the Jersey Shore of the show?
I think so. And you kind of, to me, you sound a little bit like Jim Florentine. I don't know why.
We've been on the air together before, and people cannot tell us apart.
Exactly.
I love Jim Florentine.
Dude.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Listen, no offense to people in Jersey, just like I said, no offense to people in Florida. My in-laws live in New Jersey. I visit there frequently. I'm from Queens originally.
Speaking of Jersey Shore, so the new spinoff is being filmed here, Floribama Shore. Have you heard about it?
Mm-hmm. I heard about the chick that got caught flashing people.
Dude, so 3 weeks ago, I went out drinking to downtown St. Pete, right? And I met them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine you're in 6th grade and you're doing a play and you have all the cue cards that you're reading from. Dude.
Yeah.
They were walking around downtown St. Pete. Allegedly, maybe I was too drunk and I didn't notice all the cue cards they had that they were saying to the camera. Dude, it was insane to see an MTV show.
Wait, you're saying reality TV is not reality?
Dude, maybe I was drunk and I saw what I saw, but maybe they were just getting ready for class tomorrow, and that's all the cue cards they had in their hand. Rizz.
Yeah, sure.
And it was just funny. They weren't even trying to hide that they have classwork tomorrow. Walking around the bars, reading from it, getting ready for class.
Well, all that stuff on TV is not reality. Tony Patrico and I did. We were on Beat Shazam last year, the show on Fox.
How was that?
Fox. Yeah, man. If I was able to tell you all the behind the scenes stuff and how actually the show was made, and listen, the gameplay is real, but it's what you see is not really reality. We shot so that show's an hour long. We shot 3 hours worth of material for an hour show.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet Jamie Foxx?
We saw Jamie Foxx for the time he was on the set. That's it.
Yeah, he seems like that type of guy.
He was very nice. I mean, we got to interact with him however we interacted with him on the show. But that was about it. I mean, literally we were in our dressing rooms and sequestered for almost 14 hours until we, got to actually play the game.
So if you
But the good thing is we walked away with a little cash. That was nice.
So basically you guys were in there from let's say 5 a.m. till 7 p.m. then, if it was 14 hours?
We got to the TV studio at around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we didn't leave and they dropped us right back off at the airport, still in full makeup. They dropped us off at the airport at 9 o'clock that night. It was a crazy night. It was a crazy experience.
Did you have people that you knew growing up that you haven't talked to, let's say in 20 years, hit you up and be like, oh, I saw you on Beat Shazam?
No, I didn't. A lot of people I haven't talked to in 20 years don't know I live out in St. Louis, so they would have no way to get in touch with me. Yeah, I only talked to how many people from your elementary school do you talk to still?
Dude, I was thinking about it. I don't talk to anybody from Illinois anymore. My old co-host, you know how I did that overnight show in Chicago 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't talk to me because he didn't make it in radio, and I kind of made it sort of so far. So he will not respond to my text, and he will leave me on red. So you have a good point there. I don't talk to anybody but my mom and my aunts.
Yeah, I talk to, there's maybe 2 or 3 people, maybe, that I still talk to from elementary school through high school.
Have you gone back to the 10th or 20th anniversary?
No, I was invited to the 10th, and the 20th. I knew it happened, but flying back for just that. My wife went to hers. She had a good time.
Did you go?
What am I going to do? I didn't know. I wasn't invited.
Oh, I didn't know at those because mine's in 3 years, going on 2 years. I didn't know that. I thought they brought their boyfriend or girlfriends or whatever.
I guess some are not. And then what do? I go to those things. I go to my 20-year reunion, okay, and it's small talk, and it's what have you been up to? How many kids do you have? What do you do for a living? Okay, cool. See you in 20.
My thing is, everybody treated me like crap because I had a really bad speech impediment, and everybody said I wasn't going to make it in radio. So now I have a lot of kids hitting me up, and I appreciate it, but I just don't know if I need to be in the same room as it. Now, maybe if I'm even bigger in radio in 2.5 years, I will feel a different way, but there's just something about it, Rizz. It doesn't seem enticing. It doesn't draw me in.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel it. I don't feel that there's an empty hole in my heart that needs to be filled with people from high school.
I feel like the day I graduated 7 years ago, I feel like that was when I was like, yeah, I'm good. Because I think about everything I've done in 7 years, and I'm like, nah, do I need to go back to Illinois?
So when you were in high school, is that what you wanted to be? You wanted to be on the radio?
I've wanted to be in radio since I was in 2nd grade. I don't know. There was this show in Chicago called Roe and Gary, and they were an afternoon talk show. It was with Gary Meyer, and I would listen when my mom would drive me from 1st and 2nd grade, and that was the first show that I was like, wow, this seems pretty cool because this is 20 years ago. And then gradually it went into listening to Eddie and Jobo and Brandmeier and Mancow and all the Chicago guys. And then I got into Opie and Anthony, and then I found your show about 8 years ago. So it just kind of grew from me looking it up online. Every day I was in class throughout my life, I was just thinking about radio and how I hated being there.
Yeah, for me, I was a little kid, and I used to make radio shows on, micro cassette, and I would record songs off the radio and kind of make my own playlists and kind of talk up the songs, myself. And I never wanted to wear a suit to work, and I loved music. I got into radio because I loved music.
Dude.
So I wanted to talk about music.
Now, you don't even have to say it because I don't want people to dig up anything from your past. I'm not saying things you've done personally. What I'm saying is, are there any bits from the previous show you did or your current show where you go, man, in 2019, I could not do that?
Oh, man. Woody and I, when we were together, we used to do a bit called Spit or Swallow.
Oh, my God. Damn.
Which I don't know if he does it. I don't think he does that bit still.
Dude, I don't think you can do that in Los Angeles.
We did that, and man, every time we did it, I would feel uncomfortable.
Dude, I put pubic hair. I put pubic hair on my face in Cleveland, and I can't believe I did that.
Okay, yeah. Maybe you could still get away with that. I don't know. But we did. Fat Chick, Skinny Chick.
Oh my God,
that was another one. That, a woman would call in, and we have to guess if they were fat or skinny and take bets on it. That was almost 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. So listen, times have changed. People have evolved. Tastes have changed. The way people get butthurt more has changed. So some stuff we can't get away with anymore. Not that I'm very proud of those things. I'm not very proud of those things. Ryan, that's very sophomoric.
It is.
Come on.
Dude, you know what's crazy is if you go and listen to old Opie and Anthony or Howard from 20 years ago, oh my Lord. Wow.
Yeah, listen, people give Howard a lot of crap for quote unquote changing. Man, he changed the show and he's not the same. I kind of see it from his perspective of, man, he doesn't want to do that lesbian dial-a-date stuff anymore. I mean, he's done that and did it for 30 years. Now he's like a straight-up interview show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't need to hear about everybody's sex life. I don't care what gender they are on the show or where they sway. When they begin talking about like Brent's sex life or Chris, I have to tune out. There's just something about hearing about people's sex lives that I'm not that into.
Yeah, listen, he still does that stuff, but I know people give him crap, but man, I love his new interviews. I love the way he interviews people. I'm a huge fan of that. There's nobody better.
I can tell with your interviews that you were influenced by it because you can tell a lot of people want to talk over the guests and they ride the show's microphone, like they'll turn down their mic. And I don't think you do that. You don't seem like a guy that does that.
Well, no, I don't need to be the funniest person in the room. I think a lot of hosts think they have to be the funniest one in the room, or they get jealous if somebody's funnier than them.
Yeah.
And it comes across douchey.
It comes across very self-centered, like they don't believe in themselves, that they can be the least funny one in the room for a day. Like
and yet still be liked. And people would still, I can't let this guy be funnier than me because people like him more. And not, listen, you got to have a little confidence in yourself.
How many radio people do you think are broken down individuals?
Most of us.
I agree.
We've all got our things.
What's your thing that you want to share if you have any?
What's my thing?
Like mine's I just overthink everything, bro. Everything.
Well, I'm pretty set in my ways. It's either my way or no way. And I won't make any bones about telling you that. Listen, if you listen to my show, we're all very opinionated, and certain things it's my way or you're wrong. And I get that. I understand that may turn some people off. Some people would say I'm paranoid about things. I don't know. Some people would say I'm a germaphobe about things. Okay. I have strange little quirks. All right. But I'm somebody that talks about them.
True.
Like that makes our show what it is, we talk about our private lives and talk about stuff that people wouldn't normally talk about in our personal lives. Talk about our strange habits. And, I think that makes people, who are listening go, I'm the same way. I don't talk about anybody, but I'm the same way. It's relatable.
What do you think your wife would say? What's the first word she would say when it comes to being married to you?
She goes, oh, God. No, thank God for my wife. She keeps me grounded and is somebody. And my wife and I have been together we've been together for over 20 years. We first met in 1997. And we started dating when I had no job. Like when I was a promotions guy at K-Rock in New York, and I got laid off. And I was living in a robe for 6 months because I had no job, and it was kind of eating through my savings. So, listen, she made the leap to move out to St. Louis with me, and she believed in me, and she is the first one to tell me to go after myself if I get out of hand.
I know you have said on air, too, that you take pride in how far you've come. So, like, when her parents come to town, you take them out to eat because you had purple hair when you first began dating. I think that's what you've said.
Yeah, blue hair.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It took a while to get the respect of her father, I'll tell you that.
What do you think the moment was that he began to respect you?
I think it was maybe it's when we bought our first house.
True.
Or maybe it was when my son was born. And it was like, well, I guess there's no turning back now.
What about when you guys...
When we moved in, he said to his daughter, and I don't blame the guy. I would be the same way because I have a daughter, and if some blue-haired guy with tattoos and piercings came and took my daughter 1,000 miles away, I wouldn't be, without really that much of a job prospect. I was doing nights, or I just got the night job on the Point here in St. Louis. I'd go, you'll be back in 3 months. That's what he told me. You'll be back in 3 months.
What do you think he thinks of your show?
He is a Russian immigrant.
Yeah.
So they don't, and the same goes for my mother-in-law. They don't get a lot of the humor.
I can imagine.
They don't get a lot of the humor, and certain
rain coming down.
Certain turns of phrases don't really translate well to Russian. I mean, they speak English, but certain things don't translate, and it's not understood.
That makes sense, dude. For people, Rizz, that haven't heard your show and maybe aren't in St. Louis, why should they check out your show?
Why not? No, let me see. Why should, I don't know, man. It's it's like five guys in a diner booth with a newspaper in their hand, nothing too serious, no politics, BSing about the news from of the day, entertainment stuff, just having a good time. Honestly, it's to take your mind off the other stuff. That
makes sense. Just take your mind off of Trump or whatever people are mad about.
Or whatever, man. I don't want to even wade into the waters of politics because there's no winning.
Ever.
We're such a polarized society now that I can't. It's driving me crazy. Everything is either Democrat or Republican, and there needs to be a safe place. There needs to be a safe place for people who just need a break for 4 hours. I cannot take it anymore. I need 4 hours of just have a good time. Let's bust balls. Let's talk about entertainment stuff. Let's talk about sports. Let's talk about news other than what's going on in Washington, D.C. Unless it's a major, major, major story. We don't talk about that stuff.
Now, for people that aren't in St. Louis, so they can't pick it up on their radio at 105.7 FM, how can they find your show?
Well, of course, you can stream us at 1057thepoint.com or, on wherever you get podcasts, just look up the Rizzuto Show on iTunes, on Spotify. In fact, our podcast was the number one, I think it was the Nerdist, said our podcast was the number one podcast in both Illinois and Missouri. Dude,
ever since I've been on Spotify, it's been huge for my show, dude. That's the future of Spotify.
Yeah, and Spotify's starting to do. I don't know if you've noticed what they've been trying to do the past couple of weeks.
What?
They're trying to do their own quote unquote radio shows on there.
Ugh.
They're trying to put in news and stuff like that, trying to make it almost like it's a radio station. That's not going to work. If you want local radio, you turn on local radio.
Who knows, dude? What if I end up being the face of it? It's Hoppe in the morning on Spotify.
Hey, all the best, man. I hope you do.
Dude, I might hit that up.
As long as you listen to my podcast after.
Dude, I listen to your show. Do you listen to mine? I'm just kidding.
Every once in a while, I'll turn it on if I see somebody that's interesting on.
It's been a minute. I think the last person I had on was Eric Nagel from Opie and Anthony.
Sure, I'd find that interesting.
I appreciate it, dude.
Fan.
Weren't we all, dude? Isn't it kind of sad that they couldn't do that anymore? I'm not saying them as a show, but it makes me sad to think that if they were to begin now, it wouldn't work.
Listen, everything as it's runs its course.
True.
I guess those guys were not speaking to each other for years and still doing a radio show, which is to me blows my mind. How you could do a radio show and not speak to each other off the air. That's insanity. But listen, they had their time. They were my heroes.
Me too.
And it's all things must come to an end.
When do you think your show is going to come to its end?
I hope when I'm 60 and I retire.
That sounds like a plan. I think you can do it. I think you could put in a good 30 years of St. Louis radio.
Well, I hope so.
No, you're on. You're on pace.
Contract thing right now, so
you are.
I said we're going through a contract thing right now, so hopefully we get that worked out for another 5 years.
Everything good with the agent? He's a very nice guy. I met him at the morning show boot camp.
Oh, you met Ross?
Yeah, he's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he was very nice.
He does all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, dude, he was. I was with Randy from Woody's show, and he was just so gracious to us. Like, there's some agents that won't even listen if you're like, "Oh, I'm part time and I work at the Bone." Like, they just won't talk to you. But like, Ross legit was listening to me.
Oh my, yeah, Ross is the best. He's legit a good guy. Like, he's the guy that has my best interest in mind when he, he negotiates. When he does the dirty work when it comes to the contracts. That stuff. I don't like talking numbers. I don't like talking money.
Yeah.
Let that guy handle all that stuff.
I got to meet Bob 6 years ago when Kid Credit died, and I went to that morning show boot camp, and he was very nice to me as well. Bob was awesome.
Yeah, Ross' brother Bob, who passed away last year. Oh no, it was last year, 2 years ago. It's probably 2 years already.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember when it happened. Everybody was tweeting about it. Everybody in radio.
Yeah, Bob was a good guy too.
Well, Rizz, I like that you're humble and that you haven't changed, but you're definitely becoming the face of St. Louis radio. And I think in 20 years, so let's say, wow, that'd be 2040. In 2040, I think people are going to look back and be like, man, Rizzuto put his work and definitely left his face on St. Louis radio.
Well, thank you, Ryan. All the best. As always, good talking to you. And whenever you need something, you give me a holler.
Awesome. Thank you, Rizz.
All right, dude. We'll talk soon.
All right. See you, bro.
All right. Bye.